50 Cent, Raja Jackson. Breaking news, I guess. Let's get right into it. And if you can go. Oh.
He doesn't seem to have an article.
Yeah. You just have to click on it and then say where you want to get it from. Perfect. Oh, okay. Okay, so UFC legend Rampage Jackson. Let's start there.
From the New York Post, UFC legend Rampage Jackson cut off contact with his son, says he should spend a little time in jail for attacking pro wrestler.
Yeah, and we've been covering this story every time there's new breaking news on this thing. They're still waiting for charges and waiting for the arrest to happen. It looks like it's going to happen because state police have kind of taken it over from the LAPD. Rampage Jackson seemed to have the right reaction when he first heard the news. Then he talked to his son. I think his son may have given him some lies and disinformation. He came out with a secondary statement that was just completely off base, trying to play the victim. But he seems to have come back and kind of got on firm footing again with another statement where he's saying he's cutting off his son. I don't know if that's the right thing, but he did say his son did lie to him and other people had sent him video and other information. So he did get the real story now. Whenever you're ready, darling.
Well, it said no data, so I had to check stuff. So what do I do?
We're going to read the article.
Okay.
Like we always do. Why did you think it was something different today?
UFC legend Rampage Jackson has cut off contact with his son Raja and also called for the MMA fighter to be jailed for brutally attacking and hospitalizing a professional wrestler. Jackson, 47, says he hasn't spoken with his 25-year-old son due to the vicious assault on August 23rd when Raja disrupted a Knox X Pro Knox Experience event in California and beat wrestler Psycho Stu unconscious.
Yeah, and I don't know if he hasn't talked to him. He's probably saying that because he doesn't want to be liable if he knows where he's at. So it's best for him to say he doesn't know where he's at. We can go down a little bit because we know the basic background of this story. And then let's just see the new information here.
He said Raja is not a pro wrestler. He's a fighter. He's not a pro wrestler. He had no business in that ring, he told the podcast. Raja, who was sitting ringside, we know that part as well.
I was going to turn him in. Let's start there.
Huh?
I was going to turn him in. Let's start there.
I was going to turn him in. We have been waiting for an arrest warrant or whatever, he said. Jackson says his son says he got his son an attorney but is waiting for an arrest to be made. I'm not surprised Raja hasn't been arrested. I feel the police are doing a deep investigation because this is not the first time something like this has happened in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I think it's only happened once before. And the thing here is he could have got his get back because when he slammed Stu, he was actually unconscious. I think that would have been enough to prove his point, but he went on hitting him in the head once he was unconscious from the slam alone.
Yes, and Rafa says, nice beanie.
Oh, thanks. She hates it. She hates all my hats.
Yes.
Okay, we can go on. And I got an X clip from Rampage Jackson was on Ariel Helwani. And let's see what he says here. Hopefully the sound works.
Do you have headphones?
No, we'll be fine with it. I watched it already.
Any man that beats somebody like that in the ring, they should face some consequences, but I don't take kindly to people calling my son like a caged animal and say he don't got no undeveloped frontal lobe and stuff like that. I don't take that kindly because any man that
and this was a much better stance than what he had in his second statement. So it seems like he's getting on firm footing. He should, after this, he's kind of corrected the record, just go under the radar for a little while until the trial goes on. Once the trial starts, he can kind of say, I have no comment. I don't want to interfere with the investigation or the trial. So he's a public figure, so he's going to be in the public eye and he's going to be given interviews. He should just say he doesn't want to talk about that specific thing. I don't know if he's going to be smart enough to actually do that though. Okay, let's go into this was supposed to be the main story actually, but the Raja Jackson thing update kind of came up.
From The Hollywood Reporter, 50 Cent to host true crime series for Fox Nation. The multi-hyphenate will host and produce 50 Ways to Catch a Ender for the Fox News streaming service.
Yeah, and I think this is a good pickup. Fox News generally is making some good pickups from traditional Hollywood, from music, and from YouTube. They got Brett Cooper from YouTube to host one of their shows. They now got 50 Cent, which is a more of a traditional star, to host one of their series, which is 50 Ways to Catch a Killer, which kind of plays on his name and it's based upon a book. So I think it was a generally good fit. And I think it will bring in another audience, because true crime naturally is going to bring in your regular kind of audience of middle-aged housewife, stuff like this. But I think you're going to have a different demographic also tuning into this. So it may cast a wider net by having 50 Cent kind of host it. Okay, let's read a little bit about it.
Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is
Curtis.
Well, you're gonna have to do this by yourself next week.
Well, you're messing
just
up
training
today, so
you.
maybe I'll do a better job.
That's because I've been editing all day, trying to get an interview out. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is going to host a show for Fox Nation, the Fox News owned streaming platform. Jackson will host and executive produce the true crime series 50 Ways to Catch an Ender, or a word that starts with a K, which will premiere on Fox Nation on September 16th. Jackson's G Unit Film and Television is producing the series alongside Lionsgate Alternative Television.
Okay, yeah, and he's got a production role in this as well, and this is perfect for him to get new business relationships for his production company. So he's pretty business savvy when it comes to this, so he'll get more than just hosting the series. And I think going forward, any projects he's in, he's looking to produce more and more. His music career did well, but his vitamin water sell is what really made him the majority of his money. Now he's transitioning into really production side. He's able to leverage himself as a personality for his production company, which is a good idea. This has been rumored for quite a while. Okay, let's go into the next article here, and I think it's going to be about Bluey.
From Variety, Bluey movie gets August 2027 release date.
Yeah, and this is great for Bluey. This is the top thing that's on Disney Plus. It's going to continue to be the top thing on Disney Plus. The thing is, Disney doesn't own the rights to everything, so I'm going to be interested to see if Disney actually owns the rights to this particular movie. Let's read a little bit about it here.
The release date for the upcoming Bluey movie from Disney and BBC Studios has been revealed. The CG animated feature film based on the hit Australian animated children's series is set for a global theatrical release on August 6, 2027. After hitting theaters, the Bluey film will be available to stream on Disney Plus and ABC iView and ABC Kids in Australia. The Bluey movie is written and directed by series creator Joe Brum and is a Ludo Studio production. It will feature voice talent from the series, including Melanie Zanetti as Bluey's mom, Chili, and David McCormack as Dad Bandit. Richard Jeffrey, Bluey Seasons 1 to 3 will co-direct with Amber Naismith. Happy Feet, the Lego Movie producing series composer Geoff Bush will provide the score.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to have a huge advertising budget behind it, because is it more from BBC or is it more from Disney? I'm not really understanding. Are you? So yeah, if it has a huge Disney backing, it will do fantastic in theaters. Disney doesn't own all the rights. They only own certain rights, and it might just be to the streaming. So if that's the case, they're going to have to put up their own marketing budget, which can be pretty high, but they will have the money for that based on the big Disney contract they recently got. So,
and it says here BBC Studios is financing and licensing the film with theatrical distribution through Walt Disney Studios. The film is being supported by the Australian government through the producer Offset and Screen Australia, as well as the Queensland government through Screen Queensland's post, digital and visual effects incentive.
Okay, yeah, so it does have some big heavy hitters kind of behind it with BBC and Disney going at this. So I think it will do very well on streaming as well. Disney would be very smart to promote this thing on streaming after it's done in theaters. Okay, let's go into Sesame Street. And I was pretty surprised to see this. YouTube actually picked up hundreds of old episodes of Sesame Street. So I think this is a good pickup from that, even though Sesame Street has gone woke. There is a cultural shift. I think Sesame Street will kind of go back to the middle. And a lot of the really old episodes don't have that wokeness problem. And this would be great for YouTube kids.
From The Hollywood Reporter, hundreds of classic Sesame Street episodes to hit YouTube with Sesame Workshop deal. Sesame Workshop will also continue to produce some original content for YouTube and host workshops with creators to help them create entertaining and educational content.
Yeah, and Sesame Street is big because I know a lot of people that do try to learn English. When I ask them, well, like, how did you learn English? They often refer to Sesame Street. That's a big way people learn new languages. You were talking about Big Bird in Mexico. It's actually not the yellow bird. It's different here.
Yeah, in Mexico, there's a green parrot called Abelardo. And I was telling you should use Sesame Street in Spanish to learn Spanish.
And they typically switch out Big Bird. It's the one of the only characters they do switch out based upon the region, from what I know.
To localize them.
To localize it, yeah. Okay, let's read a little bit more about this.
YouTube is picking up some prime new real estate, Sesame Street. The video platform says it has inked an expanded partnership with the nonprofit behind the show, Sesame Workshop, which will make YouTube the largest digital library of Sesame Street content available, including hundreds of classic episodes beginning in January 2026. Sesame Street, of course, will debut new episodes on Netflix and PBS in November, and Netflix has picked up about 90 hours of library episodes. Warner Brothers' HBO Max also continues to make some library episodes available. YouTube, however, will top both of them alongside new content specifically created for YouTube.
Yeah, if Sesame Street would just go back to the middle, to the moderates, or maybe even conservative, it could appeal to a much, much wider audience. So it's a shame kind of what's happened to Sesame Street over the last few years. PBS has had funding cut off, so maybe they will go back to a mainstream audience so they can actually bring an audience back in there. And
I do think with Sesame Street, not the newest things, like since they went woke with PBS, but beforehand, it was quite a lot better than a lot of the stuff that is being, like, I'm going to sound mean, but user generated on YouTube. Like, you never know. There was that whole issue with YouTube Kids and what was actually being shown to kids and all the weird cartoons that were going on. I'm not going to go into what they were doing, but very adult stuff. But it would autoplay for kids that were watching Bluey or whatever. And then, or that Chinese one, what's it called? Coco Melon. Like, all of those things that dumb down your children. I think at least Sesame Street being on YouTube can kind of curb that a bit if you only select playlists for Sesame Street.
Well, and Sesame Street has such a big, gigantic library. I'm wondering why it didn't go to Netflix, because Netflix distributes the new episodes. So the fact that YouTube was able to pick up such a large library, which is just huge, a lot of parents are just going to autoplay that. So I think Sesame Street old episodes will actually work perfect for YouTube. And I don't think people are that interested in watching the newest episodes of Sesame Street at all, especially with the cultural shift. Like, the old episodes work well on a platform like YouTube. Okay, let's go into Superman.
And Rafa says, I'm really happy Lauren Chen reappeared today in Instagram, and Tim Pool has already made a video supporting her.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I was trying to look that up.
She was from Vancouver. We used to live in Vancouver as well. It's a shame what happened to them. She's going to have to address those issues. I'm not sure if the court case is over, so she may try not to address those issues. I'm sure the left is going to be all over her. So.
And then he also says, Sesame Street has become Ming Street on recent years.
Groomers?
You can't say that on YouTube, but yeah, Rafa says that as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think this is one property that needs to go back to the middle. And if it does, it's really, it's kind of a statement platform or a statement on the direction of society, is which way that it's going. Okay, let's go into Superman here.
From Variety, Superman sequel Man of Tomorrow sets July 2027 release date.
Yeah, and the first one wasn't necessarily a dud. It wasn't bad like a lot of stuff coming out of Marvel Studios. It hit, but it wasn't fantastic. So if they can get the next one to really be fantastic, they had to recut a lot of this movie, cut a lot of scenes out because supposedly there was a lot of messaging in that kind of maybe distorted the movie a little bit and wasn't the original vision. Going into this next one, I think they're going to put an America First vision here. That's what the Superman character is, and that's what they should do with them. I know a lot of people in Hollywood like to hate on America, but with a character like this who really represents Americana, they need to lean into that. Let's read a little bit about it.
David Cornsweet will dust off his trunk soon, as a sequel to James Gunn's summer hit Superman will fly into theaters in less than 2 years. Director and DC Films co-head James Gunn took to social media on Wednesday to announce an official title and release date for the project. Superman Man of Tomorrow will hit theaters on July 9th, 2027. In his announcement, Gunn included a comic book image of Superman standing next to Lex Luthor in his war suit, a pretty clear signal that the sequel will continue to focus on Luthor's antipathy for the Man of Steel.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about this because there is huge rumors swirling around who's going to play Batman, and that it's most likely going to be Henry Cavill. If it is, it's going to be funny to have a Batman Superman movie where the actor that's playing Batman used to play Superman. So that would be interesting. But I think Henry does fit Batman very well. I hope they really take some good risks on this next Superman to kind of go out of the normal kind of plot line and do something original. Really try to reach for the stars here, not just more of the same when it comes to a superhero movie. They need Superman and Batman to perform, because that really leads the way for all the sub characters. If those two movies don't do good, it's hard to expect other characters to do well within that universe.
Mm-hmm. And Rafa says, yes, it's over, and she published a statement regarding Lauren Chen.
I'll read it once we get off the air here. Do you have the statement actually? Maybe you can read it.
Yeah, I was trying to read it, but...
Oh, why don't you just read it aloud?
Yeah. It's really long.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
How many pages? I see 3 pages there.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, why don't we start with the beginning and we'll see if it's any good. Or it's written by a lawyer, maybe.
Probably. This past year has brought trials I never imagined possible. There is so much I have to say, but for now, I will do my best to answer a question I know many of you have been wondering. What happened? On September 4th, 2024, 2 months before the general election, my husband, 2-year-old, and I were awoken early in the morning by 30 armed FBI agents about to break down our door. At the time, I was entering my 4th month of pregnancy. The FBI spent the next 4 hours searching our house and interrogating us about our company, Tenet, which licensed mostly right-leaning conservative content. They took all our electronics and seized our assets. This included our life savings and revenue that had nothing to do with Tenet, such as payments from contracts with The Blaze and TPUSA.
I'm wondering if she got that back. Now that Trump's in office, maybe this thing is going to disappear for her.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Same day, then Attorney General Merrick Garland published a press release which essentially labeled Tenet a Russian propaganda operation intent on subverting American elections. The Department of Justice also unsealed an indictment on 2 Russian individuals that worked in conjunction with our company but were not in U.S. custody or even in the country. This lengthy statements of these individuals was largely focused on Tenet, though most of the information provided was false, inaccurate, or out of context. There were also claims made concerning issues outside our knowledge, and we regard those allegations with extreme skepticism. Garland painted Tenet as a covert Russian propaganda mouthpiece and our conservative-leaning talent as unwitting propagandists. The implication was that the Russian government was astroturfing support for President Donald Trump in the upcoming election, and that his conservative and right-wing supporters and an independent media were merely behind him because they were paid to be. The notion was categorically untrue.
Okay.
Want me to keep going?
No, you can kind of leave it there. I always thought that was kind of a hit job there, that they were trying to set not only her up, but a lot of the biggest independent voices on the right just before the election, and they were trying to discredit it. And whether it worked or whether it wasn't going to work, it was going to smear mud all over these names. Most of the personalities came out unscathed except for Lauren Chen, so it's good to see that she's back. And I think with the Trump administration in now, this stuff is going to disappear. And I think a lot of content creators going forward, if the money's too good to be true, they're going to start asking questions because they don't want to fall down this rabbit hole again. Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's continue with The Conjuring here.
From Deadline, The Conjuring Last Rites to be blessed with 80 million global opening, according to the box office preview.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's going to hit 80 million. That would be actually huge for this movie. And this is mainly it does well in American box offices. Horror films typically do better in American box offices than global. So I would expect most of the money to come from the American box office. They've had quite a few of these come out. I don't see how this thing's going to do 80 million, but perhaps. What do you think about this?
I mean, Halloween's coming up, so.
Yeah, but it's too.
And usually
maybe.
usually with stuff like this, it's not as political, so it does better because it grabs a wider audience, just in general.
Yeah. I mean, Halloween decorations are coming out now. When we went to the store the other
There's
day,
only, 2 months to go?
2 months is a lot. They usually come out the last 30 days. In Mexico, they seem to bring out all of holiday gear, whether it's Christmas stuff or Halloween stuff, like 3-4 months early.
Well, everywhere, basically. But
In Canada, it was 30 days before, it seemed like. Okay, let's read a little bit about it.
Warner Brothers continues its ownership of the post-Labor Day frame with this weekend's New Line Saffron Company Atomic Monsters supposed finale, The Conjuring Last Rites, which is eyeing 40 million domestic and 80 million worldwide.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. If they're expecting another to equal the domestic box office in the United States, I think that's an overestimate. I'll expect this thing to hit 60 million. I do understand it's the last one in this series, so maybe people will go see it. But this is definitely something I think that will do well on streaming. And I haven't seen much of a marketing budget for it, so like I haven't seen anything out, any trailers or anything. So let's go into the next story. The next story was actually pretty good.
From The Hollywood Reporter, the deadest dead-end job in Hollywood. Production assistants have long endured brutal hours, low salaries, and abuse in the hope of moving up on the food chain. But contracting budgets and blatant nepotism have turned a job that was supposed to be a doorway into a holding cell. Now they're finally pushing back.
And I haven't actually read the article, so we'll read some of it together. But we used to work in the industry, and I found this subject to be very interesting, mainly because a lot of people decide to go to film school. They'll spend $80,000, $100,000, really be in debt only to get an entry-level job as a production assistant because there's this streamline of film school to production assistants. A lot of those production assistants just don't go anywhere. They're entry-level jobs and they never make it up the totem pole, just like the article says, because there is a lot of nepotism, and the people that do make it up typically already have industry connections. If you don't have any connections, it's hard to... They're just using these production assistants as kind of low wage workers.
In Spanish, we call them chalanes. So yeah, they do become chalanes. And I always wanted to go to film school. It was like my number one goal. And then I just didn't end up going for several reasons. But now, like after, when I did go into the industry, I was so glad I didn't, because even just noticing how the industry works itself, but also talking to people and them saying, the best thing you can do is just start working in whatever, not a PA, but doing whatever kind of job, and then move your way up and learn and show your time on set. And that actually becomes a lot more valuable. But with PAs, with production assistants, it is kind of known that they are people coming out right out of school. They don't have that much talent. They have too many dreams. They have a lot of demands. So they do become like the ugly ducklings of the set, and they're not. I mean, one of the good not to be mean, but they're not respected well at all.
No, and one of the good jobs to actually go into is the Teamsters or the security union, because you kind of stand there. You get a lot more respect as the Teamsters because it's a respected union, and it's easy to transition into other parts, whether you're going to go into grip or lighting, because you're going to meet people and they're going to hire you onto their crews. It's very hard for PAs to kind of make that crossover, and you do want to cross over into more of a skilled area if you want to start climbing the ladder and try to eventually be a director. I know a lot of director friends that were of mine actually were grips. They did lighting, they did camera, and then they went into directing. That's a traditional kind of path that they go into. That being said, also another good path is non-unionized work. Non-unionized work, you can actually work I worked as a grip, I worked as lighting, and I worked as a camera assistant doing the camera crane and stuff like that. So in non-union work, they'll typically have you do jobs that you wouldn't normally have access to if somebody doesn't show up for work that day.
Yeah, non-union is good, except you cannot use the on-set hours whenever you're applying for more formal things or for unions themselves.
But it's good experience.
Yeah, to learn is do whatever you can.
And when you are trying to get in with a crew, say you do skilled non-union work, and then maybe you do like Teamsters security work for the union, but then you talk to other people on set and say, oh yeah, I used to do non-union stuff. They know you already know the ropes, so they'll hire you right into their crew.
And-
So that's typically a better path to go. PA work, these people are just shitted on. They're never going to really get a promotion unless they already know somebody within the industry.
And they have had quite a few protests and not strikes because they're kind of in a union, but not. And it's kind of IATSE, but it's not. At least in Vancouver, that's the way it was. But
Well,
even starting out like in the lowest rung of whatever you think might be interesting, costuming, set building, set decorators, painters, lighting, grip, etc. You do have to start at the bottom, but that actually gives you so much more foundation than running around and picking things up and getting people coffee.
Well, and there's also ways if you go into the individual union. So the grips will have their own union, the lighting will have their own union, and camera will have their own union. Just go to these union websites, whatever industry you want or whatever job you want to go into, and you'll see they have apprentice programs. Mm-hmm. You were actually trying to get into the camera apprentice program right before we left.
Yes.
So yeah.
And then the strike happened, and then I just did not continue moving forward because it was all paused. But I mean, I would have loved to actually get into camera from it was just what I was doing. So
but you will see a difference between the working class jobs on set, like camera, grip, and lighting. They're much more moderate and conservative. The PAs, and if you ever go pick up your check at the studio, the office people are extremely progressive.
Yes.
Extremely progressive. And the PAs they all have different color hairs. It's your just typical idea of what a progressive is going to look like. And you're more working class, the ones that actually make the movie work and have the important jobs and hold the long hours. They just keep their mouth shut on their political views on set.
There is a very marked difference.
Yeah, they keep their mouth shut on set because they don't want to lose their jobs, because if it gets back to the office that they said anything political on set, they will lose their job and they will get axed.
But it is funny how the people that actually make things happen and actually make things work, from the caterers to, again, the drivers, security,
drivers, security,
some camera, not all
lighting,
camera.
grip, all those.
Everybody that has to move around and carry heavy things or guard things, And then it is the PAs sometimes who do think they're above people because they went to film school or because they know, I don't know, the location manager or the person on set, the contact point. But then at the end of the day, it's like, no.
Yeah, the best way I would say if you're a PA, the typical direction I'm seeing was more and more was them going into back of house. So I did know some PAs because they have the same kind of politics as the office people. They would go into the office eventually if they were smart enough to know that was the direction they wanted to head.
But they also, again, and that was what was annoying, because they went to film school and they think they know a lot, they would look down on all the jobs that actually make the set work.
Yeah. And man, I remember I did some security work for a lot of films, and the pay was just so much higher than these PAs. I can't believe how the PAs got treated, how little they got paid, and
Almost at catering, almost any other job does pay a lot better. Just because of the hours.
Well, and
because it's unionized.
Well, and the security union is Teamsters, which is typically a truck driver union, but they also run a lot of the longshoremen unions. They have a really, really strong union in the U.S. They have a pretty strong union in Canada. The union is really well respected, and they know how to negotiate. Before we left Canada, I knew the Teamsters were actually trying to get the PAs to kind of join them. The PAs would be smart to join the Teamsters because the Teamsters know how to negotiate. And there are a lot of PAs, so that would give the Teamsters even more negotiating power going into negotiations with the studios.
Yeah, because Teamsters is also catering, or part of the catering on set. So
and the drivers, you have to have the drivers.
Driver, security, and catering.
Yeah.
But right now, back then the PAs were with the other union, IATSE, but they were half and half. They were not fully covered, so it's a weird situation.
Well, and they want
Vancouver. That's why they're always angry too.
They think IATSE is the better union because Teamsters is a working class, blue collar, conservative style union, and they think IATSE is the better union. I don't think so. But
okay. Do you want me to read a little bit?
Yeah, let's read a little. Let's see what they say here.
About 8 or 9 hours into a punishing shoot, nerves were fraying, and Mike McGurk was getting chewed out by a camera operator. Oh, so they're tailing it from the poor little PAs.
Oh God.
Then a production.
Okay, first of all, this is an entry level job, so this is like you should have to earn your stripes, and they should shit on you.
And there are very marked. This is what a lot of people don't get. There are very marked hierarchies within the film industry.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has to be that way, otherwise things wouldn't move along.
Yeah.
Like if you need to just shut up and sit there, just shut up and sit there.
And within the contracts, one person isn't allowed to do another person's job. That's why non-union jobs are actually for work experience. You typically can do a lot of different jobs on set, which kind of makes it fun and gives you exposure to like camera. I never thought I would be able to be a camera assistant operator, and they just threw me right in there on my second or third day.
Then a production assistant, a famously low-paying entry-level job on film and TV sets, McGurk happened to be near the camera operator who was talking on the phone when a colleague radioed him to ask to attend a rehearsal. It was after McGurk told the man twice that he was wanted that the crew member erupted. "He just lets me have it," McGurk said. He's like, "You're trying to keep me away from my family right now. Why are you doing this to me?" Do you want me to keep it?
Yeah, go down a little bit further, though. I don't want to hear their whole story.
Okay. Around 2022, major Hollywood companies with streaming platforms began recalibrating from a business model focused on producing mass quantities of titles to lure subscribers to one focused on profitability. A marathon to compete with Netflix's firehouse of content suddenly became a sprint to trim costs. Executives canceled projects, throttled budgets, and moved production overseas. The contraction has been particularly brutal for Hollywood's production assistants, many of whom are feeling stuck at what is supposed to be the starting line of their careers. Some, like McGurk, already had worked their way up the hierarchy, only to return to the job when times got tight. Others haven't gotten the next step and are having difficulty finding consistent work. Some working PAs have paid their dues in their role for 3, 5, 7 years, even longer. It's an ecosystem. We do need to move up, says John Hook, an in-demand LA-based PA, for the prospect of more PAs doing this long term. That's a long time.
Yeah, that's how it is. I mean, that's how it is. You're not going to move up as a PA. At one time you were, because I did know a lot of directors that were PAs, and there used to be a through line. That through line's not really there anymore. But a lot of PAs that are related to people, their parents will get them jobs as PAs and they will work themselves up, but they have somebody kind of looking out for them and moving them up their ladder. It's not based upon the work they're doing. It's on the people that kind of got them their job in the first place, usually their fathers that are in camera or directors. I knew a ton of PAs like that, and those were the PAs that would move up. And those were the only PAs that would move up unless you came from a previous generation.
Yeah.
And I did know a lot of security guards that work for the Teamsters that did move up because they got on grip crews or lighting crews, and then from there they went into camera. So that it's more common to do that.
And you move faster in basically almost anything else.
Yeah, it's the industry in Vancouver is really contracting right now because of the tariff war. Trump's kind of going after the Canadian film industry, which is huge. So it's going to be interesting what happens with that specifically. Mm-hmm. I could see a lot of the film industry returning to the United States based upon the infrastructure Trump's kind of setting up, but I think it's going to be more dispersed. It's not going to be in Hollywood. It's going to be all over. We cover on this show a lot of new studios being built in Texas and other places that aren't traditional places for studios to be built.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go into...
and Rafa says, any thoughts on Burning Man? I believe it's a degenerate fest for the first world rich hippies.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know if it's some kind of satanic seance where they're dancing around this thing trying to open a portal, but I definitely agree it's a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I have thoughts with things...
My camera went out.
Oh. The sound's still on. I can keep talking, and I'm not even on there, but I'll give my thoughts on Burning Man. Burning Man is and has always been that way. So with Burning Man, for example, and there's a lot of other examples where conservatives or right-wing media or whatever you want to call it will kind of shit on it just because it's so hippie, woke, etc. But if it's something that's always been that way, like Burning Man has always been that way for the many, many years it's been going on.
It's overpriced and it's a bunch of garbage.
Yes, but if people want to do that, then I'm like, okay, fine, go do that. It doesn't matter. But with things where it's for the general public or it's not overpriced, but it's like a public, like the PBS, like Sesame Street, public broadcasting. Oh. What? Oh, I don't know what happened. Am I still talking?
Yeah.
What was I saying? You made me lose my train of thought.
Okay.
Oh, with like Burning Man, it's not like I'm surprised. And if they want to go do that, they want to go have that, experience, go do it. You pay for it. I don't really care about that. I care when it's in the general culture and in the general what everybody has to see and tolerate when they start inserting these things. Again, free speech. If they want to do that, that's fine. I don't care. Do it over there. But don't bring it into the general culture and into the public sphere.
Okay.
Just go be rich and hippie over there.
Yeah, but it used to. Well, I think there was a time and a place where Burning Man was actually for everybody, and it's become something different.
No,
it was
it
when
wasn't.
I was watching a documentary on it. So
I know a lot about Burning Man too.
okay, the camera might go out, so if it does, we should still have audio. But yeah, it's charging, so we'll see what happens. It's charging as we talk.
Okay.
Okay, let's go into the next article, and this is going to be the Oregon.
From the AP, Oregon could join Hawaii in mandating pay-per-mile fees for EV owners as gas tax projections fall.
Yeah, and this is crazy because if you own an EV, you were doing it to save money, and now you're going to be taxed by the mile. You might as well, eventually, if they keep raising how much they're going to charge EV drivers for the mile, it might be just easier to take a taxi at that point. That's kind of what this feels like. I have to pay by the mile for my travel. I already bought the car for $20,000.
And they bought the car being promised that they were going to get tax cuts, not like they were going to get like subsidies.
And who's gonna want to buy an EV now if you're taxing EVs? Like, I think their justification for this is typically there's tax put on gas, which goes towards the roads, and EV drivers don't pay for any gas, so they're losing out on that tax money. They're trying to find another way to get that tax money by charging EV drivers by the mile. I can see people starting to hack their cars so it doesn't actually show how many miles or something.
And Rafa says, these are the technical issues that I love so much. These are the technical issues that stress Guy out and completely distract him.
It's fine. I think the camera's gonna go out though.
Okay.
Because I couldn't open the bottom without taking the camera off. Okay.
So Oregon could become the second U.S. state to require electric vehicle owners to enroll in a pay-per-mile program as lawmakers began a special session on Friday to fill a $300 million transportation budget hole that threatens basic services like snow plowing and road repairs. However, the special session got off to a rocky start. The state Senate met as scheduled at 9 a.m., but the House failed to reach the two-thirds quorum required to conduct business, leaving the session in limbo as of late Friday afternoon. Legislators failed earlier this year to approve a transportation funding package. Hundreds of state workers' jobs are at risk, and the proposal of road usage charge for EV drivers was left on the table.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested to see if this is going to be all EVs. What about hybrid cars? So if it's half electric, half gas, is that going to be counted in this charge? You're still buying gas at that point, but
it's less.
Yeah.
Because Hawaii in 2023 was the first state to create a mandatory road usage charge program to make up for projected decreases in fuel tax revenue due to the growing number of electric, hybrid, and fuel-efficient cars. Many other states have studied the concept, and Oregon, Utah, and Virginia have voluntary programs.
Like anytime the government can put a tax on you, they're going to put a tax on you, and it's hard to get that thing off. I mean, Trump wants to get rid of the IRS completely and get rid of taxes completely. That's what's come up the last few days. He wants to do that through the tariff, and that's kind of his next step or what he's kind of planning on doing. The problem is that the court kind of stepped in and said the tariffs were not legal under executive power. So Trump's going to have to bring that to the Supreme Court. It's a 50-50 coin toss if they're going to go with that. I think going into the next election, because the tariffs did work so well, prices really haven't gone up much, and it's bringing in billions of dollars. Trump's going to kind of run on elect more Republicans so they can have a majority in the House and Senate. Right now they have the majority, but they need 60 votes. They're a couple votes short. So in the midterm elections, if he can get to that 60, then he's going to be able to pass that through legislation rather than through executive order, which would make the tariffs legal at that point. And I think he's going to campaign on the fact that we want to get rid of taxes completely. So I think that's something that could work as well as for on a campaign, Because, I mean, the liberals or the Democrats were saying that tariffs were going to make all prices shoot through the roof, and that just didn't happen. So they're trying to say it's a tax on the regular person through the cost of the product, but the products really haven't gone up much. So it could be something that if you're offering to take away all taxes, people may vote for. Cool. Okay, let's go into Disney pays $10 million for children's data.
From Variety, Disney to pay $10 million for collecting children's data on YouTube. If you didn't hate Disney enough.
Yeah. Okay, let's read a little bit about this. And of course,
Disney has agreed to pay a $10 million civil penalty for allowing children's data to be collected on videos posted to YouTube. The Federal Trade Commission alleged that Disney failed to designate videos on the platform as made for kids. That designation is meant to comply with federal law that protects kids from having their data collected and used for targeted advertising.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's a really good law, actually. I don't like a lot of legislation always, but the fact that they have something that you're not able to collect data from children, I think that's really good. I would like to see that be expanded into no collecting data from anybody.
The opposite of what the UK is doing.
Yeah.
All under the guise of protecting children. But the thing is, I mean, I don't know if they'll go into it here, but when you take on YouTube that a video is made for kids, you only have very limited advertising revenue. You only get very little revenue because it only shows ads that are for kids, and they're a lot more stringent with those. So
you get less ad revenue for kids?
Yeah, if you get specific, because you can't show like liquor and you can't show like a bunch of ads that are for adults only.
Yeah.
So you get a limited revenue, even though a lot of people have been able to make tons of money on YouTube Kids. That's why many people don't want to tag it, even if it is for kids. But the fact that Disney, a multi-billion-dollar company, didn't want to tick it says something. The FTC said in a statement that Disney will change its practices to comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which requires parental consent for data collection for users under 13 years old.
Yeah, and this is something like you're protecting individuals' freedoms. If they can protect children's data, I don't know why they can't protect everybody's data. So people aren't that clued in when it comes to data, and they're becoming the products, which is an issue today. Okay, let's go into, what do we have? Samuel L. Jackson and Sylvester Stallone.
From The Hollywood Reporter, Samuel L. Jackson joins Sylvester Stallone in Tulsa King Season 3 trailer. The Paramount Plus crime series next season premieres on September 21st.
Yeah, and I believe it is in the last seasons as well. There's big talk of him getting his own spinoff. I think this is a good role for him, even if I don't agree with everything he says politically. This is a good role for him, and I don't mind seeing his own spinoff go here. He's a strong enough actor where he could carry a whole series pretty easily. Okay, let's read a little bit about it.
On Tuesday, Paramount Plus...
And again, this is Paramount Plus. Every time there is a series that's really kind of hitting, it seems to be in the Paramount Plus sphere. We got another article later that goes into Paramount Plus as well, and that's going to bring even more revenue to the platform. Paramount Plus has been doing a fantastic job on their business decisions lately.
In this season, Samuel L. Jackson is introduced to the cast playing a character named Russell Lee Washington Jr. The trailer begins. Do you want me to go into the trailer and everything, or no?
No, you can skip it. You can go to the next article, actually.
Okay.
And maybe he wasn't on last season. Maybe I was wrong about that. We have read quite a few articles about Samuel L. Jackson being in Tulsa King. I think it was for the appearance for this season. But there was an article we read before about him getting his own spinoff. So they're probably introducing him this season so he can get his own spinoff if the audience gravitates towards him. And you like this story, so I put it in here.
I don't like this story. It's sad. From Deadline, Giorgio Armani passes away. Italian fashion king was 91.
Yeah.
Giorgio Armani, Italy's undisputed fashion king, passed away Thursday after a short illness. His luxury fashion group announced in a statement he was 91.
Yeah, this was on this morning, and then she said, oh, he died. So then I said, okay, we'll put it in. I don't know anything about fashion. I'm not big into the fashion industry. You may be.
I'm not either.
I will say the first thing you said was, oh, never mind. We'll just leave that. I was going to talk about Hugo Boss.
Oh, yeah, I got confused for 2 seconds between Hugo Boss and Armani. But I'm not a big fashion person, clearly, if you've ever seen me live.
Well, Hugo Boss came up, and it's just an interesting fact about Hugo Boss. They made the German uniforms for World War II. Mm-hmm. So those were some of the most iconic uniforms. But surprisingly, that didn't they didn't get any cancellation in this modern era.
Well, Coco Chanel was also involved. A lot of funnily enough, a lot of fashion icons, I'll say, were involved with the mustache people.
Yeah.
From Germany.
Okay, let's go into Walmart. And this was an interesting collaboration. And I think this is another good move for Paramount Plus.
From The Hollywood Reporter, Walmart wants to challenge Amazon as a streaming aggregator, adds Peacock as a video partner. Walmart Plus subscribers will be able to choose between memberships to Peacock and Paramount Plus and can switch every 90 days as the retail giant targets Amazon in the video space. I actually hate that Walmart has become and that any shopping online experience is now basically Amazon, where they have all this cheap things that you can find on all of them coming from probably Wish or Alibaba, but it's like individual listings from individual sellers, and it's just a mess. It's impossible.
And I didn't realize Walmart was that big and is trying to become like Amazon. Amazon has its own shipping and distribution, which is much more worked out than Walmart, but Walmart's a big name, and I could see them having to go into that space to compete. But I think Amazon's much more well established. I don't know if this is that great for Walmart. Walmart's going to have to pay for these memberships, or there's going to have to be something in the contract here. This is great for Paramount Plus. This is going to get even more subscribers. And I know I was exposed to Amazon first because we had the free shipping, and it gave us a free Amazon account. So that's how I was checking out their streaming, and I liked it. So the same thing will happen for Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus with UFC coming and with a lot of these new series that are really hitting the right market at the right time. It's going to expose mainstream America through Walmart when they get that. If they get Walmart Plus, it's going to expose them into Paramount Plus, which I think even if they cancel the membership connection to Walmart later, people will sign up for Paramount Plus eventually. So this is a big positive for Paramount Plus. I don't know if it's that big for Walmart, but maybe people would rather say I'd rather sign up for Walmart and get Paramount Plus than Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. You can read it just a little bit, and then we have one more article, I believe.
Walmart wants to take on Amazon Prime Video in the video aggregation space, overhauling its subscription offering with a new benefit called Video Subscription Choice and adding Peacock as a partner. The retail giant on Monday announced its new plan, which includes an extension of its deal with Paramount Plus, originally signed 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I could see Walmart buying stocks into Paramount because they're becoming a major partner with them. Walmart is going to have a lot more revenue than Paramount, so I could see Walmart possibly owning Paramount one day if this ends up being a good relationship for them.
Mm-hmm. And
I kind of said this before. I think a lot of these movie studios are going to be owned by companies that aren't traditional movie studios like Amazon, like Walmart, because they have a lot of more profit aggregation. So, yeah. And they'll just use these things as add-ons to their already adopted services.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can go into the last article of the day.
Oh, there's two more.
Oh, there's two more. Well, I missed one of them.
And Rafa says F for Giorgio Armani. F is like condolences or sadness.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I know you don't. From BBC, Google not required to sell Chrome or Android. Judge rules in win for tech giant.
Yeah, this is a big win for Google. I thought for sure they were going to be forced to sell it or something was going to happen here. Now they're only having to share their data. Like this is, first of all, I wish they didn't even have my data. So.
A U.S. judge has ruled that Google doesn't need to sell off its Android operating system or its Chrome browser in a landmark monopoly case. However, the tech giant has been ordered to share data with rivals to help open up competition in online search. The judgment follows a finding last year that Google acted illegally to maintain a monopoly in online search. Google was sued by the Department of Justice in 2020 over its control of about 90% of the online search market.
Yeah, and there have been some good, court cases that have come down and set precedents for big tech. And that kind of goes into our next article. So let's go into the last article of the day.
From the AP, Trump will host top tech CEOs at a White House dinner. Musk won't be there.
Yeah, I don't know if this is because they're on a rocky patch or not. I know Musk has been seen with Trump and Melania at some dinners and things like that. So maybe Musk already has enough access, so they want to give access to the other tech CEOs because he does have them all in line, or he was having them in line. Now he maybe wants to see what the future is and what direction he wants to kind of head the U.S. tech industry in. He may also want to vocalize the protections he wants to give to them against the UK and the EU, because the UK and the EU are really coming after American tech companies right now. So I think they're going to start hashing that out. Let's read it just a bit.
President Donald Trump will host a high-powered list of tech CEOs for dinner at the White House on Thursday night, so tonight. The guest list is set to include Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, Apple CEO Tim Cook, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, and a dozen other executives from the biggest artificial intelligence and tech firms, according to the White House. One notable absence from the guest list is Elon Musk, once a close ally of Trump, whom the Republican president tasked with running the government-slashing Department of Government Efficiency. Musk had a public breakup with Trump earlier this year. The dinner was expected to be held in the Rose Garden, where Trump recently paved over the grassy lawn and set up tables, chairs, and umbrellas that look strikingly similar to the outdoor setup at his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're still in a rocky patch with Musk and Trump. So I know they had made up a bit. That being said, I would like to see Bill Gates not be one of these tech CEOs that's being empowered here. He's just involved in too many other industries, such as agriculture, things like this, where he has a lot of leverage over the government in certain aspects. So he could do a favor for the government on this aspect if they do him a favor over here. And I just don't like a lot of things Bill Gates doing in general. So all those other CEOs, as much as, they may have their hands in other pies, they're not as devious as Bill Gates. Bill Gates is really involved in food manipulation and a lot of other things I don't like.
Blocking the sun.
Blocking the sun with the UK government. Also buying up. He's the biggest private owner of farmland in the United States, and it's not in a good way because he's really big into GMOs. He's also big into jibby jabs, things like this.
Fake meat, even though then he said he wasn't.
Fake meat. He's currently, I think there's a warrant out for him through the Indian government, if I'm not mistaken. For a lot of the jibby jab experimentation he was doing within that country. I know that he doesn't go over there because of that. So, okay. I think that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. We're trying to get to 500. I went on a little later today. We had a meeting in the morning. So.
And thank you, Rafa, for all your comments and for laughing at our failures. It always helps.
Adios. And the camera did.
Yeah, it stuck it out.